everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Power Within podcast, the podcast that is on inspiring people with inspiring stories. My name is Trevor Evers. I'm your host. And this week we have a great guest. Her name is Claire Power. Claire is involved in many holistic therapies, and she does her best to live a life of love and joy. And it's a pleasure to have her on the show here today. You're very welcome on the show, Claire. How are you?
Hello, Trevor. I am very well, thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to the chat.
Great stuff. And thanks for taking the time for coming on. And I know
No
you're a woman of many talents, and your work involves, as you said yourself, a lot of different holistic therapies. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to be sitting in front of me here today, to this moment?
Okay, if I give you the practical reply to that, is that you contacted me.
It's a long story.
Yes, so we'll go through a little bit of how I got involved in holistic therapies. And my main one is shamanic work, and that can be a word that terrifies people, that word. But all it means is connection to your ancestral lineage, connection to who you are, connecting to everything, anything that you can think of, the land, the trees, the water, all of that. I have other holistic therapies that I do, more regular ones that people might be more familiar with. Those would be Rahani celestial healing, Reiki. I run a lovely drum circle, which is really good for people because we move into a sacred and safe space, and you hold the drum in your hand, and it just really connects at a very deep level. What does even a deep level means? It means that you're in the space, in a safe space, in a sacred space. And in that space, when you start drumming, the beat of it relaxes you and allows you to stop thinking about the day, the things that are bothering you, things that are going on in your life. And that's where the healing starts, when you take that time. So that's what a deep level means. So a bit about myself. My name is Claire Power, and I'm 62. And I've had lots of interesting things happen to me in my life. And I got married very young, 4 children. Stayed married for 25 years. Didn't really follow much of the holistic work at that time because I was involved in a whole lot of other things, as in children take up your life completely. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They're all older and have their own children now, which is great. I separated. We separated a long time ago. And in that part, when I separated, I discovered where I was when I was a child. So I had to embrace, didn't have to, but I did. I embraced all of the things that were me, all my abilities to channel or work on the psychic, the senses that you might have, the clear seeing, your third eye, all of that kind of stuff really just burst out of me. It's like, you've got the time now to do all these, so you are now starting your life. It's the end, it's the death of one part of your life, and it's the rebirth of another part of your life. So along those years, I started off embracing my gifts and expanding my gifts, and I met some really wonderful teachers. I also met some really crap teachers, and in all of those times, what I realized was how to pass on information, how to share what the things are that are important. How when I sit with a client, I can feel and I can see what's going on with them, and it's how to guide, how to support the person in seeing those things themselves. It doesn't matter. And that was the most important thing with having the shitty teacher and having the good teacher, to put all that together. And shamanism became very important to me. I met a really good teacher in the west of Ireland, O'Halloran.
Right.
Very authentic, very real. I had met other shamanic teachers. I don't even have the words to describe how awful the experience was, which is still a good experience. The realizations about when you want clarity, discernment, when you want to be with someone, when your wish and desire to be with someone who's authentic, who feels what they're doing as real, and who lives it as well. So I met Paul, and I was with him for 3-4 years, training, working. Then I started to do, not just with the shamanic work, I started to move into the development of the psychic protection, working with angelic realms, having discernment, having clarity, understanding who you're connecting with, how do you do it, how do you prepare your space, how do you mind yourself, how do you increase your light. And today I have qualifications in many things. The shamanic work, I am last year was a really interesting year. Last year I was invited to take the sacred medicine beads from the Xhosa tribe, which is a tribe in South Africa. And you do initiations, and you are called to these things by birth. I didn't really want to do them, and then there was another percentage of me which was saying they'd be really interesting to do. So over the course of the summer of last year, it started in June and it finished in October. I took initiations, which included understanding the connection to the ancestors, mine, and the lineage that I was being invited to partake in, which is the Xhosa tribe. And you get these beads. I have them, and these beads represent different things. You have different color beads. You have the earth beads, the fire beads, the water beads, and the wind beads, the air beads. These are the air beads. And when you complete your initiations, each of the steps, you are gifted these beads, which you put together, and the people who are doing this with you put them together also. So you have all the energies, all the thoughts, all the blessings of what you're doing in that moment being put into the beads, and then you are presented with beads. It's very powerful, those kind of things. I think the most dramatic one for people would be the fire walk.
Yeah. So you've done that. You have. It doesn't hurt.
I have done more than one.
Right.
No, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It didn't hurt me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. Okay. So I had prepared. I had moved into a space of connection with the fire spirit, which is also part of my work because I do the sacred fire ceremonies, which are really important for transmutation. So connecting with the fire spirit in that way. And this was for my own awakening, my own transmutation, my own rebirthing. It was really good.
Brilliant.
Really good. Yeah.
Okay. And come here. One of the things that I want to ask is, I know that you've been doing a shamanic drumming circle for quite a while here in Waterford. And as you know, I've attended a couple of them and really enjoyed them. How would you describe that whole experience? And so let's say if I was someone who was thinking of doing it, how would you sell it? How would you, or why would you recommend it? Coming along and experiencing it.
I'll tell you what happens when you come to a space. So you come in, at the moment I have one in Waterford, in the Waterford Hatha Shala Yoga Studio in Johnstown. That's once a month. And in Tramore and Trabio, in the yoga and therapy rooms, I have one every 2 weeks. So you contact me, you'll probably see the ad, and you contact me and you come along. And I have drums, so you don't have to bring a drum. I have many different drums, and I have a really wonderful, huge drum. It's called the grandmother drum. The grandmother drum. It's really big, and that was made in America by special people for my work. So you come in, you select a drum, and you'll sit in a circle. And you can sit on cushions, you can sit on a chair if your back is not good, or you can sit on yoga mats, floor with bolsters on the floor, cushions, and so on. And you can have a wrap, a little wrap, like a warm blanket. So you'll take a drum. In the circle between the people who are there, I will have a few small bits and pieces. I will have a little bowl of sage. I will have a candle. I'll have a couple of feathers. And I will have a lovely scented water, which are all part of the opening ceremony. So I open the space where I invite us slowly with the beautiful ritual to leave the day behind, to leave the week behind. And this is part of the moving into the sacred space. So in that sense, I open the space in a general way for people. It's already opened when people come in. So welcome in the ancestors who love, honor, and respect us and join us in the sacred space, all that kind of wonderful stuff. And then I'll pass around the sage bowl. So the sage bowl is for you to connect to the sage. And the sage then, whatever you're willing to let go in that time, it lifts it away from you, if you're willing to let it go. Sometimes we are, and sometimes we need a little bit more time, which is good. After that, I will send around a bowl that's for the drum, because each of the drums, they hold the energy. They hold the energy of the space, of the work that was done on them. They hold, if somebody is sad, they hold the sadness. So you want to work with a drum, you wish to work with a drum that is completely wonderful. So you hold the drum, and then you pass it over the sage bowl into each of the directions, north, south, east, and west. Each of them hold a different energy into Mother Earth and up to Father Sky. And the bowl is passed on to the others. And the last part of the opening ritual is to use the flower water. So we've already used the sage for ourselves, for our own energy flow. So now we use the flower water, and that's for inside. So you spray it into your hands and you breathe it in, and it goes into every cell of your body with intention, because we use intention as well. And that's passed around. And then I explain what shamanic drumming is, that the drum is your friend. And when you greet your friend, you don't like punch them like this. You say, hello, how are you? It's been a while since I saw you. What's going on? Tell me what's going on in your life. So that the shamanic beat is you're working with a friend. And this friend assists your brain in moving into a nice, relaxed space. And we do this by a particular beat. And it goes at 3 to 7 beats per second. And you just fall into that rhythm, because I will lead it. So you don't bang the bejesus out of it. It's just a soft, gentle rhythm. And you're in a beautiful space. You can smell the sage. And you set intentions. What's your intentions? What are you feeling in your heart? Because what you're feeling will go into the drum. And then from the vibration of the drum will go out. So if you're full of, I've got to go to Tesco, I've got to clean the toilet, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. That's what you're putting into your drum. So that's what you're bringing to yourself. So you could have a story, and this story could be, what's happy, healthy you? What do you imagine yourself doing? What are you feeling? What are you wearing? Who are you speaking to? And then bring your focus back to that, not after 2 minutes. I've got to go to Tesco after this now. Yeah, what have I got for the children's lunches? I don't know. Oh, my hand is paining me. I have to stop. So all of these things, you bring yourself back to the imagining of what happy, healthy you is, whatever that story is. And we fall into the beat. And that goes for maybe an hour, maybe a little bit less. And once that particular section of it is over, we do what's called a heartbeat. And the heartbeat is connection to our ancestral lineage, because it's the same rhythm as our heart. And we thank our ancestors for joining us in this space. And sometimes we sing a song.
You have a mantra as well, don't you, at times?
Well, I might sing the Gayatri mantra,
Yeah.
and I would invite people to sing that. Or I sing very simple songs, maybe that have one line. And a very easy one is "We are all walking each other home," and it has a melody. It's just the same sentence. And when you really fully understand what that sentence means, it means each soul is supporting each soul in that space and in the community and in the wider your family and friends and so on. And we are walking each other home and we're supporting each other in doing that. So I find that very very
Yeah.
moving,
I,
very
I found
powerful.
it, like when I done it, my own experience was that it helped to increase my vibrational state,
Mm.
the actual experience of the drumming itself. I know music is good for the soul and good for the spirit anyway. And
Absolutely.
I always felt, buzzing after the hour or so
Yes.
of the experience from it. And it's something, folks, that I really highly recommend. It's well worth, if you haven't done it, it's well worth experience. And I've done it a couple of times, and you really get lost in the rhythm of the
You
music,
do.
and like it's really similar to a trance state, isn't it? That I found
Yes,
you go
that
into a trance.
you do, because that's the beat that we're heading towards, but that's a more technical part of what the sound and the rhythm and the way you approach it. That's the more technical part of it. It's really about coming together in a space that is safe and a space that is sacred. And you were working with the spirit of the drum, and the spirit of the drum has connected to you, to your soul, to your heart. And you're working together to bring up and manifest what are your dreams, what are your wishes. Or if you have wounded parts that are ready to be looked at, it assists in that also. It's really, really very powerful. And it's thousands of years old. This is not something that just popped out. This is thousands of years old, this work. Thank you for saying the good things about the drum circle. Thank you.
Look, it's true, and hopefully I'll get back to you sometime soon. I know it's been a while now since I've been out to you, and it's really it's a great experience, and I highly recommend it. I get a lot from it. In terms of as well, if you're experiencing any stress or anxiety in your life, it's a good way
Yes.
to address that.
Yes, and the fire ceremonies are another way to do that as well. I bring the drums along to the fire ceremonies, and as whoever turns up, the community build the fire, and it's about releasing, setting intentions, and then when you have that joyful moment at the end, when you dance around the fire, when you beat your drum, when you release the sound from your physical body into the dark night air, setting that moment. I'm really happy in this moment. I am feeling the joy of my physical body. I can feel the fire spirit. I can feel the cold, damp air. I have the drum. And this is what I wish to manifest. These are magic moments also. Yeah. So that's my
Excellent.
shamanic work. I
Yeah.
also do a spiritual boot camp, which is assisting people it's a 6-module course that assists people in working with their intuition and how
In-
to work with their intuition and how to develop that in a safe
Interesting.
way. Yeah, that's a really good course. And then I
Is it-
have the regular like Reiki and Rahani sessions. I
yeah.
also do land and house healing or entity removals or ancestral. Like I do a lot of stuff.
Just on the intuition side of it, it's kind of a lost art in the modern world that we live in, isn't it? The people don't listen to themselves
Yes.
enough, or we don't follow our intuition. Like we work from up here rather than
Mm.
here.
Yes. Now I'm going to say to you, I'm a human soul and I understand or understand all of these things. And sometimes I don't listen to my intuition. I don't listen to my feeling, because it's a feeling that you have. And I just afterwards, because something just happened recently, and it was with it to do with a tradesman, and I knew that this person didn't really want to do the work, but there was other people, other sort of tradespeople who were there saying, no, it's grand, and I said, okay. And it turned out that it was a disaster. It was absolute disaster.
Oh no.
Wasted weeks of time that could not afford to be wasted. It was an expensive not listening to my intuition. And it was another lesson. Even after all the things, even after my life experience of all the stuff that I do, I still didn't listen to it. And I can still feel that right in the center of my stomach. Well, Claire, you really didn't listen this time.
Yeah. And
I didn't listen, and I know customs.
our intuition
so
is well, I wouldn't say always right, but like, I mean, is there a balance there in terms of like listening to your
your mind,
intuition, like, and then reason?
So your mind works from your program, and your a funny word to use, but what it really means is your life experience.
Yeah.
And what it was like where you were born, your family, your all that kind of stuff. So it works from that, and it's formed its perception of the world through those eyes. Your intuition is your connection to your soul, and your soul and your heart are feeling things. Okay, and this produces a feeling in your body, and you don't know what it is. Some people might say it's like butterflies, or it's tingles, or you get the heebie-jeebies, your hair stand up on your neck, or you just get that urge to move away from this situation, this person, or this house, or this piece of land right now. Like there's no it's okay. No, you have to do it right now. That's what your intuition is. Now your mind can play tricks on you, and it can tell you, that that's not real, that that's woo woo, and I'm the boss of you because I use logic and I solve all these things through logic. And there's a portion of that keeps you safe, because you don't want to jump off the cliff edge 30 feet into the sea. There's a portion of that keeps you
For
safe.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It can be scary to follow your intuition like 100%. It's kind of a self-defense mechanism, keeping in the logical reason part of the mind, isn't it?
Yes, but your intuition will also it uses your body to give you the stories of what's happening around you. And if you can tune into your body, if you can work with your third eye, if you can work with your clairsentience and your clairaudience, all of these things that you can hear, different frequencies, you can see, you can feel. Clairsentience is feeling. If you can work with those things, you're working with all the gifts, all the senses that you have that have no logic. You can't think your way through them. You feel your way through them.
Yeah.
And those are part of you. And in this world, you are right. Those things have been pushed to the side and put into a category of old wives' tales, and they're not real, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But you can learn to use them very easily. And even everybody has had an experience of being in a place or being with a person that they really wanted to get out of really, really quickly. And they can't really explain why. Why did that happen? Why don't I want to go into that place? Why do I feel like that? So they don't, most of the time it's not followed up, as in they don't have self-inquiry. Well, why? And what the notion was. Why did I feel I had to move away from it? So you are right.
Yeah. And in terms of like protecting ourselves from, say, that kind of negative energies that are out there and stuff like that. How would you recommend we go about that?
So there's loads of different stories that you can tell, that I can tell you about this. But I'll just give you little snippets of things. When we're in an emotional state, when we're really sad, for example, if you're heartbroken, literally your heart is breaking and your whole body is heavy. And there is another realm, there is another set of beings that feed. That's their food. The same way as you might have yourself a cup of tea and a bladder with fried egg in it. That's your nourishment. Or they feed off the lower vibrations. So if you're anxious, if you're heartbroken, if you're constantly sad, if you're caught in a trap of not liking yourself, not loving yourself, low self-esteem, all those things, however you managed to bring those up to the fore, it could be trauma from your childhood, it could be anything. You really don't know until you start to unwrap. Those entities feed off that. Okay, so that's just the way it is. So what can you do to protect yourself? Most people think that you can use protection and that's the way to go. I'm 50-50 on this, and I'm 50-50 on this because if you're using protection things, say I go around with that crystal in my pocket and have another one around my neck, you know, and I do this, but kind of blah, I'm safe.
Yeah.
Okay, you are giving yourself, you're giving your power away to another thing to do a job for you that you were perfectly able to do yourself once you have confidence in yourself. So, for example, you can use crystal and so on and so forth. And there's a whole story about crystal that I could tell you, but I won't go off into that just yet because you're talking about protection. You are the thing that protects you. So you increase your vibration. And how do you do this thing? You do this thing by moving into what do you really like to do? Okay, I really like to swim in the sea, and I do my best, except in stormy weather, to swim in the sea every day. And when I'm in the sea, it is the most magnificent feeling, and I am supercharged, and I feel unstoppable. I feel wonderful. That thing is my joy. That's my bliss. Now, if another person could find their joy and their bliss, and they can get themselves to remember what that feels like, that's the thing. That feeling you then project. So that's in all of your physical form. It moves out into your energy field. It goes past your energy field and it goes into maybe 6, 12, 30, 50, maybe 100 feet around you. And you have that. That's you. That's your essence. You are powerful. You're wonderful. You're in joy. You're in bliss. You're a beautiful soul. You're a shining light. Look at me, girl. Look at you. Okay. That's your protection. That's your space. And your vibration, your frequency is so high that the things that bother, the entities, the energies, and they have many different names, can't get into your field. They're not able to because their frequency and their vibration. For example, if we use numbers, you're 100. So anything that's less than 100 can't get into you. So all those entities might be 8, 9, 10, maybe 12, maybe 15. They can't get into you because you are vibrating at such a high thing. And when you give yourself, when you're learning to do that, when you're learning how do I do this? How do I do this? Like, this sounds like wonderful. How do I do it? Well, you can start off by finding what your bliss is and doing that and really noticing how do you feel when you're in that joy moment. Even laughing at cartoons, it doesn't matter what it is. That brings you into that state. And then you can work with the crystal family if you wish and desire, or you can work with fabric, you can work with flowers. Doesn't matter what the thing is. And you can say, look, I'm learning a technique to your crystal, and I'd like your help and support while I'm doing this. So would you mind protecting my space for me while I learn how to expand myself? And then you are recognizing that this crystal is going to work with you, and you are going to expand yourself. So you're learning and you're minding yourself at the same time. So the day that you go out and you don't have your crystal, you know, or you don't have the platinum light mesh around you, or you don't have the white light surrounding you and all that kind of stuff, is the day that you'll bump into your entities and then just go,
yeah,
they'll attach to you. So in my experience, work with your favorite things that help to protect you, but on the understanding that you are working and building up your light, your joy, and you are expanding you into your true essence of what you really are.
sure.
Does that help?
It does. I mean, in other words, it's all about being in a high vibrational state. And once you're in a high vibrational state, then you're protecting yourself.
Yes, you're the thing. You're the crystal. You're
Yeah.
the piece of fabric. You're the thing.
I suppose
You're
the challenge in life, though, is, you know, it can deliver the unexpected at times, and it can be a challenge to stay in a high vibrational state, like, you know, every day, like 7 days a
Yes.
week.
Yes.
And it's in those moments of vulnerability, isn't it, that we can be sucked into kind of those dark kind of forces.
Well, okay, that's your mind bringing you into state. So you are soul first. First and foremost, you are soul. And that includes your heart. And if you believe, if your thoughts tell you you are less than anything, that's what you will create for yourself. So first and foremost, it's important to feel into what it feels like to be in soul.
So we're creating our own reality by our thoughts anyway, aren't we?
Yes and no.
To a great degree.
Yes and no. So if your program is running in a particular way, and you believe that you're only as good as maybe 10% of the people in the world, that's what you're bringing to you. If you fully realize your connection to what you really are, your soul is immense and powerful, and that is unstoppable when you're in that space. But we have the human experience.
Yeah.
We're not in the spiritual experience just quite yet. So you do your best. And if you have days where you are not feeling 100%, those are the days that you light a candle, or that you sit with the crystal, or maybe you like to watch movies. It doesn't matter. You have a nice hot warm cup of chocolate or cacao, and you just sit with yourself. You have to do it.
Be good to yourself, right?
Yeah, you mind yourself, however you mind yourself. So you just do that. So once you can do that for yourself, they're just days. They're just days in the human experience. They could be weeks, they could be months. But then you take a step and you say, okay, I'm okay now. I think I can take my first step back into expanding myself, being myself again, being my soul expression of all those things. That's what you do. And you do it. And you expand yourself and you keep going your work. So you might take one step forward and you might take 10 steps back. But the thing is, you just keep going forward. You just get up and you go again, and you go again, and you go again. And those are the days that you can use the things like crystals.
Yeah. Would you be of the mindset that, like, we do create our own reality, and that we are what we focus on, what we think about, what we give our energy to?
In a way. So if you're focusing on a program that you've been told is the program, but you're focusing on the program. So I would like to encourage you to think outside of that and think that you don't even have to work with that idea and thought. Work with the soul and the expansion of that and the expansion of the feeling, and be in bliss and be in joy. That's your only thing to be. Everything else could be a product of a control system. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it could. I have lots of deep thoughts that maybe should not be expressed at the moment.
Yeah. But there's a lot of
About
people
that.
out there that focus their attention and energy on, say, the news, every day and things
Yes,
like that, and on the mainstream media, and then
yes,
tend to take on all of that kind of toxic,
yes. Well, that's
bad
designed.
news and doom and
But
gloom
that's
kind of thing.
designed to be like that. I mean, even in how the tone of the voice of the newscasters or people who tell the stories of those awful tragedies that are happening wherever they're happening in the world, that's designed like that. And the images are there to reinforce that. In the same way, if you listened to uplifting music, classical music is a good example of that, you will feel uplifted and you won't really quite understand why. It's the frequency. It's the vibration of it. And it's the same when you listen to the news. They deliberately put it in the tone of the caster's voice, newscaster's voice, to be that way. And it affects the physical body, it affects the cells in the body. And then the music reinforces any of the images that you might see, especially in film.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's a reason for
absolutely.
everything. And we could look at it, we could talk about it, but what you really want to do is work on your soul,
Yeah.
feed your heart, do things that you like, get out for that walk, connect to nature, connect to the trees, sing, dance, swim. Those are the things that you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. And every so often I tick off the shoes and kind of ground myself to the earth as well. To as you know, I have an allotment
Yes.
that I maintained for the last couple of years, and that's food for the soul to get up there for a couple of hours with the kids and experience that.
Yes, that is wonderful. Connecting, we're electrical beings, we're also water beings. So when you connect into the earth, you're having an exchange of electricity, which is positive. So you will feel good. And logically, you might not be able to figure out why you feel good, but you just do.
Yeah. And
So,
it's space as well as time, from my own personal point of view, to spend my own kind of thoughts and alone, because that's something that is kind of promoted in the modern world that we live in, to have that time to yourself, have a couple of hours to yourself, and we need that me time, that space to ourselves, away from the rush of modern day life, isn't it?
yes, I agree. It's good to be by yourself. If you cannot be by yourself and be happy and be at peace, you're not fit to be with other people.
Sure.
You have to be able to be with
Agreed.
yourself first.
Agreed.
You have to understand or feel who you are. And just be kind to yourself. Those are the most important things.
Just keeping it simple, isn't it?
Kind, do things that make you happy. Yeah. Keep things simple. You don't have to complicate things.
And this is
Be in
something
your
that
joy.
I've talked about on the podcast to many of the guests, about self-care and self-love, and charity begins at home, that we can't pour from an empty cup, and all of that.
Yes, that is true. Yes. Love yourself. You are wonderful. You are glorious. You are a shining light, Trevor. Keep on doing that.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. And um, I know you know my kids as well. You met them on several occasions,
Yes,
and it's just one thing that I wanted to mention to you as well. And I know you've had what have you've had four? You've four of your own. So
yes, I do. And yeah, they all
you've
have their own children.
experienced all of that fun as well. And but there's something about children, isn't there, that they're very closely connected to the source and to nature, that
Yes,
we can
they still
lose.
remember who they are.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you recall in this conversation where I spoke about being in your joy?
Yes.
You can clearly see when children are happy. They just are super happy with the simplest of things. And you can see that they shine with that joy and with that happiness. That's what you're looking for to achieve as an adult, to be in that space, to have that childlike energy and joy in your life, because that's what you are. That's your only purpose. When you're in that space, nothing can come to you, nothing can attach to you, because you're vibrating at a very high frequency. So do more of the things that you like, that you really like. Give yourself that time.
I will indeed. I will indeed. And I'm doing this podcast, which I really like as well. And I've really enjoyed talking to you here today and spending
Thank
some
you.
time in your company and getting to know a little bit about the different things that you do. I have to admit,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a huge expert on the kind of topics that you're talking about, but I'm very, very interested in them.
Sure, who is? Like, we're all just learning.
Yeah.
You know, we're all just moving through the space. I don't know everything. I make mistakes. Sometimes I think I'm the queen of making mistakes. And I just say, okay, well done on doing that, Claire. Let's move forward. Keep going.
That's it.
Just pick yourself up, you know, and keep going.
Don't beat yourself up too much about it.
No, because that's what's the point? It's over. It's done. Move on to the next adventure of this wonderful life.
Brilliant. And I was going to ask you before you say goodbye, Claire, have you any words of wisdom you would like to share with our listeners here today? But you've already shared many nuggets of wisdom already. But is there anything else that you have in mind?
I would say to somebody, anybody, always be yourself, because your light is really important in the energy of the world today. Just be yourself. And you know, if you can't be yourself, be a mermaid.
Brilliant, great stuff. And look, so we'll let you go, Claire, and I'll be seeing you
It's
soon,
wonderful to
because
talk to you.
I'm going to take the time out to go to your drumming circle sometime in the
That
near
would be
future.
wonderful. It would be wonderful to see you. Wonderful.
Brilliant. Have you changed the nights that you're doing it? You're doing it from a different place now?
I do it on a Wednesday night in Tramore. So the next one will be not this Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday. I usually put up a little stories and reels, starting maybe on the Saturday or the Sunday before I have it. In Tramore, it's at 7 o'clock every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. In Waterford, it's once a month on a Tuesday. So the next one will be Tramore and all the wonders that Tramore has.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, I look forward to meeting you, and I'm sure we'll see you very soon at one of those. Look, once more, thanks for
You're
taking time to
welcome.
come on to my podcast. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
Claire,
you
we'll
for
let you
doing this.
go, and so we'll be in touch.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. I know you will anyway.
Yes. Goodbye.
And onwards and upwards, and keep up the great work. And we'll talk to you
Thank you.
soon.
Yes.
Great stuff. You've been amazing.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Take care, Claire. So, folks, it's that time again to say goodbye. And until the next episode of the Power Within podcast, be good to yourselves, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the next podcast.